So, could this message just be summed up in 3 words? No, 4 words. There is no you.
Which in a way would actually almost be too much.
Too much
so
to
there
say.
actually is no message.
Yeah. But still, we talk for half an hour.
Yeah, apparently. Not really, but apparently.
Yeah. Does it ever...
So if you would assume that this is a message, this could be the message. There is no one.
Does it ever bore you?
Bore?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. Is it still fresh and new talking about this?
In that sense, always, of course.
Because?
That's, in a way, the natural reality. I mean, fresh and new is a little bit... I don't like that picture too much, but what is, just is whole and complete. And by being whole and by being everything, in a way, it's fresh. And always, like it's always new. But, yeah.
So this is not like being born all the time, that you're born...
Exactly, that's, one could say so, yeah.
Born into the moment?
No, there is no such thing. As you say, this sounds like a process or something going on, or being new again, getting old, being new. No, it's just ungraspable. It's timeless. Timeless, basically. It's ungraspable.
So also no such thing as time. We haven't been talking for 30 minutes.
No, of course not. No, we haven't been talking.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still there's a thought that I'm talking to you.
Apparently. Not really, of course, but yes, that is what apparently happens.
Is it then imagination? Am I imagining that I'm talking to you?
I would say experiencing. You are not really imagining it, but you are. When there is someone, there is an experience, an apparent experience of what happens.
Yeah, but no experiencer.
No, when there is an experience, there is also an experiencer.
So there's also no experience.
Apparently. That's the basic setup of separation. I experience something.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah. The dream of...
And liberation, or in a way apparent liberation, is the collapse of that setup. It's the death of me. And together with that, also the death of I experience something. I experience sitting here and having a talk. That's, for me, that is the only reality. That's all it knows. I'm here and I experience that situation.
Mm-hmm. And I love it, or I hate it, or I want more of it.
Exactly, with all consequences. With the story adding to it and immediately having, judging it. Is it good, is it bad? Regarding my goal. Personal happiness, fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all additional.
We have this movie called The Matrix. Do you see any similarities with that movie talking about this?
Not really.
No?
No, because there is someone seeing through the dream. It's a nice picture, this whole... It's not what it seems like, but there's still someone who sees that. For
you, there's no one seeing through the dream, because there is no one.
And there is actually no dream. There's nothing to see through.
Yeah. Yeah, great. It really sounds freeing, I must say.
Yeah, it is. In that sense, it is. Absolutely, yeah. It's freeing from reality. In the end, a reality that never existed, but yeah.
Then one could say, are we taking this whole stuff too seriously? And then you say, well, there's no one who's taking it seriously. Or
I mean, in a way, that's the burden of me, to live in reality. And in reality, everything gets meaningful. Because when I'm real, my experience is real, my suffering is real, my need is real, good and bad are real. Within the dream of me, everything is only real. And we could say that's its burden. But yes, it isn't real. It's real and unreal. And yes. But there is no one to take it more lightly, you know. This would just be loosely speaking, so don't take it serious. It's not what's actually being said here. It's not what is suggested. It could become a new task. Me might start to take this very seriously.
Yeah, but
I seriously try to not take it too serious.
Or I seriously try to get enlightened.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But in the story, my father is in the hospital. And I see him suffering because he thinks it's all real. He thinks he's ill. He thinks he has to stay there for another week. You want to help someone.
Okay.
Is there any way to bring this message to someone who...
No, of course not.
Why not?
Someone will never hear that message. There is no message. It's impossible.
And
you
there
can't
is no
bring
someone.
it to anyone. It's just impossible. It would also be coming out of a misunderstanding that there is someone who needs something like that message. It would come out of the idea that there is someone who needs something additional. And in a way, this idea only can come out of the experience that there is someone who needs something additional.
So this father being in a hospital, that's all, just use a word, perfect. There doesn't have to be anything changed about that.
One could say so, yeah.
And me trying to change it or to help him is also the story, but doesn't have any effect on...
Oh, there can be an apparent effect, of course. But you wanting to change it, or you feeling about it as you feel, is as perfect as your father lying there. It's just no thing as that. But within the story, there can be an apparent effect. You make him laugh or not, but it all doesn't matter. It all already is it.
Yeah. So Advaita is no medicine for the depressed or the you don't even call it Advaita, no.
It's not a method, exactly. There is no such thing as Advaita or non-duality, or that simply doesn't exist. There is no... It just doesn't exist. It's an idea that there is an issue, non-duality, and there is an issue, Advaita, and that there is an issue, separation.
Yeah.
No.
It's a non-issue. Yeah, you still have to give it a name. Yeah. And any plans on traveling the world? And what do you give talks in Germany, but in Holland, also in England or America? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That is your full-time job, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were you in the story before talking about this?
Oh, I did a lot of stuff. I never learned a real profession.
No?
Because I stumbled into seeking very early, so there was no space. It's no space to learn a proper job. That's why I'm ending up like that. And I was working as a security man and courier driver, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jobbing.
And do you see yourself ever going back to that when this all stops? Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's no goal with this.
No. No.
So it also doesn't bother you how many people are coming to visit you this evening?
No.
Yeah, but for me sometimes, I don't know, this message seems so dear that you think, oh, I have to shout it out of the window to everybody.
Yeah, there is an aspect to this, but not really. I don't have it actually.
You never had it? Also not in the beginning?
No. To be honest, I was surprised that for half a year no one came, but I know there wasn't a sense of... No.
And
I never had that.
Does that mean never come back and say to you, well, look what you are doing here, that's all. Nobody's coming, stop it. You're crazy. There's not that narrative anymore. There is a functioning. There is also functioning thoughts or a functioning brain, but no one listening to it. So in that sense, yes, me doesn't come back. But there is a functioning going on that seems to be pretty personal, of course. So there is a narrative that says you should get something to eat, or you should get some fresh air, or...
Yes. Apparently.
Yeah.
That's what apparently happened. That's what I mean. It's an apparently functioning human.
Yeah. But you don't call that a me.
No, of course not. That's the dream of me.
But what changed then with the thing sitting over there?
And nothing. Nothing really changed.
No, like Tony sometimes says, no... bam, or...
Oh, I didn't have an event.
It came gradually.
One could say so. Or death was too subtle to notice. Would be another story to tell it. But in the end there was no event. I mean, that's the whole thing. That in death it turns out that there is nothing alive and there is nothing to die. So this whole end of me thing is something that has no reality. Those two aren't realities. Me and no me aren't two opposite realities. It's part of the dream of me that experiences itself as I'm something on my own. But that's a dream. There is nothing on its own, and there is nothing having an own reality. So in a way, that's the big surprise, that nothing changes. While me only lives in the dream of, for sure, something will have to change. Whatever it is, it can't be this. It has to be different, however it is, but it must be different. But the big surprise is, no, absolutely not. That was the dream. So the change, let's say, the apparent shift from me to no me is absolutely illusory. You can't point it out. You can't put your finger on and say, me died.
This date on the calendar.
In the story that sometimes happens, some people have an apparent event, but it's apparent. It's not real.
Because nothing is real.
Because nothing is real, yes. And the whole presence of me is illusory. Nothing really goes away.
It's good that is said, because sometimes it seems like you're waiting for something to happen.
That's how me lives, exactly. It is waiting for something to happen. That's its whole experience. This isn't it. And something has still to happen.
Yeah.
No, of course not. That's the dream. It's this, as it is. Like you are, like I am, like this is. Without anyone experiencing how it is. It just is as it is. Mm-hmm. There's no additional experience of that, but exactly that's it. With these thoughts and with these thoughts and these feelings and this room and this atmosphere, that's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
There's nothing to get, nothing to reach. And even this can't be experienced or doesn't have to be enjoyed or transcended or seen through or anything. This doesn't completely require anything. No recognition, no seeing of it, nothing, just nothing.
So it's just for the joy of it.
No, it's for nothing.
It's for nothing.
No, it's not even for the joy of it.
Still looking for a reason. Yeah. Yeah, great. Tonight, when I'm going to bed, what happens then?
Yeah,
Also nothing.
No thing. That
Yeah.
you go to bed is the story.
Yeah. But the story goes away when I'm in dreamless sleep.
Then you are not there.
Yeah. And we love that. Or it seems like we love that. When you don't have that dreamless sleep, you say, well, I didn't sleep that well last night.
Yeah.
So is that the moment when everything isn't contracted anymore?
One could say so. There's no self-consciousness. Yeah. And one could say the story liberation is when in the morning no one wakes up.
So
liberation is just like going to sleep and never waking up again.
So that's what I sometimes call it death. Is that what happens with death?
Yeah, exactly. It's like going to sleep and not waking up again.
Yeah. So we don't have to be afraid of death. Could be.
Yes and no. I mean, for me, being afraid of death is quite logic, because all it have is the illusion of being alive.
Yeah.
But of course, being alive is the illusion, so there is no real death, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Yes.
Yeah. And the word love, can I bring that to the table? What is love?
This is love. One could say so.
So we are making love right now. No, there's no we that is making love.
Yeah.
Are we being in love? No.
No.
Is being the love. Is.
It depends on how you define love, but you can use love for the unknown, because there's just no one there experiencing it as not it. There's no one running with it and saying, this can't be, this isn't allowed, fighting is not allowed. That's just not happening. That's love.
But
no adult watching.
And your partner, he or she, is she, or is it he or she?
It's she.
Okay, yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
yeah.
Of course.
Is that a different kind of love then? No.
That's what apparently that's how you define love. There also can be an apparent feeling of love or attraction that
Is it
can
stronger?
happen too.
Are you stronger feeling that love when you're with her than now sitting with me?
Sometimes there's love and sometimes there are other feelings. I'm not living in a state of, me lives in a story about I'm in love with that person and thinks then I should always feel loving or something. No,
You can be angry sometimes.
Yes, apparently.
And throw with things.
It hardly happens.
And is she also into this stuff?
Kind of. Yeah, we met before actually. We met when we were seeking. So she's kind of familiar to him.
And is it for someone visiting satsangs and so on, is it a good idea to find a partner in that circumstance, or is it just also a story? You don't know.
But there's no one to choose. There's no right or wrong, or no good or bad. It can be everything. It can be pleasant, it can be unpleasant. It doesn't matter.
So someone visiting satsangs doesn't have to get involved with other. Sometimes a teacher told me, watch out with which people you get involved in your surroundings, because
it's just bullshit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They can pull you back into the illusion of being someone.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Why is that so BS?
Oh, because it's just a complete story.
It doesn't work that way.
That you could choose to be with whom you are. And there are things that are better than other things, and that's just part of the dream, that you can create conditions that serve you, that you have to consciously be aware and attentive to not do the wrong things in order to fuck up your enlightenment. It's just...
Yeah. Or fuck
It's
up my
bullshit.
life. Yeah, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's the basic fear of I am.
Yeah.
If I don't do it right now, then I fuck up my whole future.
Yeah.
Or my future enlightenment. My future happiness, which is the only moment when I will be really happy. In the future.
Not now.
Yeah, of course not, because that's not it. In the experience of me, that's not it.
Yeah.
And being pulled back and all that stuff. As long as there is someone,
Yeah.
me will live in the dream of things pull me back into me, which doesn't mean anything else than things destroy my good experience.
Yeah. So,
That's what's me working on, having good experiences, and it's constantly working on that by being watchful and conscious. I shouldn't meet that person. I should eat better.
Yeah.
I should avoid that groups. I should avoid that feeling. I should avoid that thoughts. I should go there because of. That's the work. That's the struggle. The constant work of me to being attentive, to be consciously aware of doing the right things.
yeah.
For nothing. It's all for nothing. It's completely useless.
Yeah. But one can live a whole life apparently like that.
Yeah, most people do
Yeah.
that. Most apparent people do that, of course.
Isn't that a shame?
No, because it's not real.
Okay, so nothing to worry about.
No, of course not. No.
And nothing for me to help those people.
In a way, that's the story. That there are people living as me is the story.
Yeah.
It is what apparently happens. And obviously it's a story, but obviously no thing appears as the sense of me, and people, apparently people running around seeking for oneness. That's it.
Yeah.
That's already it.
So me thinking that it would be nicer for those people to sit on the beach and enjoying a nice cocktail instead of worrying about the future is also...
Is what apparently happens, but when there is someone, this me will live in reality with that story,
Yeah.
and apparently suffer from that. But that is what apparently happens,
So
and no one cares about that.
there is no suffering.
No,
Never.
of course not. No.
Syria now, people getting bombs in the story, but in reality, no suffering, because there is no one in Syria.
It's no thing as suffering. It's not good. It's not to make it good. Me would understand if there's no suffering, then they should actually all be running around dancing in joy. No, it still is as it is, and it still is apparently painful and apparently suffering, of course.
Yeah.
It's not making it good in the sense that the apparent me would long for. But it longs for goodness, meaning a state of goodness or an experience of goodness.
But the critics would say we are now denying that there is suffering in Syria.
I'm not denying, in that sense, I'm not denying the suffering in Syria. I'm denying the reality of it, which just cannot be grasped.
Yeah, and that cannot be discussed.
It cannot be discussed. No. And it's not supposed to make suffering less painful.
It doesn't change anything.
No. Not in the sense me would assume it. Because me would assume a real change in the story, because it experiences everything as real. The apparent surprise is that it's not real, that it's not only real, and that it's in a way whole and complete, but as it is. It doesn't have to become good as the me would assume it, or as the me would need it.
Yeah.
But it's also not seeing people and saying to them, no, it's all good. Don't suffer. No, if suffering is what happens, that's what happens. And no one cares about it.
But one of my plans could be, I'm going to take an airplane and buy all of the books by Andreas and drop them in the cities of Syria. I'm serious. And that someone reads it and maybe it gives them relief. That is also bullshit. Beside the point.
Yeah, of course you are free to buy a lot of books.
From you. But it wouldn't change a thing, because there is no thing. Yeah, okay, yeah. And it's already...
The change itself would be no thing. There may be an apparent change, but the apparent before, the change and the apparent after would all be no thing. It would never be a real better.
Yeah. Still, you are a big fan of World War II documentaries and stuff. There is a story that's going around of some people.
That's what apparently happens.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not seeking something in that. That just is what apparently happens.
Mm-hmm. But the story is that there are some people in Auschwitz who came to this conclusion and then didn't suffer anymore. So still it brings me that I say we have to go to people who are in lifelong prisons just that they have the possibility to hear this message. There's no need for that, or...
No.
So already, again, a me who's trying to create a better world that is not there.
If there is someone doing that or thinking that this is the right thing to do, yes, then there is someone thinking, living in the dream of there being a world and good, and that this message is a real message that does good to people or not, yeah. Which isn't wrong, but it's would in that sense have nothing to do with the end of me.
Yeah. It's I once heard someone say it's decorating your jail a little bit. Maybe a window, maybe some fresh air, but you're trying to help someone.
Yes, that's what exactly. One could say so, which isn't right or wrong.
Yeah. So Andreas is not trying to help people. He's not flying around the world trying to help people.
No,
because
of course
there are
not.
no people.
No, of course not. No.
And there is no Andreas flying around the world.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not trying to help.
Yeah.
In that sense, because I'm not even there. It's not coming out of another concept.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming out of a new idea that not helping actually is the better help. No, it's just this whole energetic setup of there being two people and seeing someone who is separate and is suffering and needs help. This whole setup just isn't there.
For no one.
For no one, yeah, of course, it's, yes.
Yeah, this is not, that doesn't imply only you, because there is no you. So it couldn't even imply that there's only a select club of people on the world who we call the enlightened, who are in this state or this acceptance or no. It's a universal rule we are talking about here.
Yes and no. I'm the impression you're mixing up things, because what apparently happens is a world where most people experience themselves as someone.
As separate, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is also no one doing. There is no one really separate, but most people apparently have the experience to be someone. Oh yes, definitely. That's what apparently happens.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not real. The presence of me is nothing real.
So that is not being denied. There are some teachers who say there is no you. That just forget about it.
Yeah, there is no you, because the presence of me is illusory. Of course there is no you. But in that sense there is no general rule, because there is no general big happening going on. It's just simply ungraspable.
Yeah, we can talk for hours and hours. Yeah, it still amazes me that it doesn't You don't even have a watch. You don't look at your watch after half an hour and think, well, that was enough. I'm not going to say it one more time. You either get it or don't get it. Get out of the room.
It's endless. It's not moving towards an end.
Yeah, but it's not tiring you. Is that because there is no you who can get tired, or?
It's just what happens.
Yeah. It almost feels like jumping into emptiness, and not knowing if you're ever gonna land again.
Yeah, one could say so. That's how it can feel for me. Yeah.
It's quite scary. No.
There is no ground. There is no end.
And nothing to grasp onto.
There's nothing to grasp, and there is no bottom. Me will never land. Me will never arrive. That doesn't exist. There will never be a sense of an end. That's what me is looking for. A point, an end, an arriving. Something where I arrive at and I can count on. That's part of the dream that doesn't exist. There is no arriving anywhere.
Still, teachers tell me I'm searching for home. Then there is no home also.
Of course there is no home.
It sounds so pointless.
It is pointless. Of course.
So, after traveling the apparent world, aren't you glad that you are back in Stuttgart and then finally get home again and get into your nice couch and sit in front of the TV and think,
That's what apparently happens, but there is no experience of it being real. There is no experience of there being someone on the road longing for a rest. Me experiences itself as being on a path, as moving forward in time, and it looks for an experience of arriving, of resting in small things, or one could say, as it experiences me, the arriving in small things, like coming home after a trip, for a moment it has the experience of, that would be another assumption for enlightenment, that I experience it in small things, and enlightenment is the one big me arriving experience.
Yeah. No such thing.
No, there's no experience of that here. You might see me sliding on the sofa, but there's no experience of that being a point, coming to a point. But of course there is no one experiencing himself being moving on in the first place. So without that experience, the whole idea of arriving somewhere just falls away. I haven't arrived. There is no one to arrive.
Yeah, that makes something clearer to me, because if I understand you right, because I always have the feeling I have to go on vacation, and then when I'm on vacation, I have the feeling I have to go home. And then when you're home again, you think you have to go on vacation. It goes on and on and on.
Yeah, of course. When there is someone, it just goes on.
Never stops.
And it never stops, exactly.
I have to move to another town. I get to the town, I shouldn't have moved to the other town. I should have buy a camper and travel around the world. Really.
It's just empty. I mean, this sense of arriving is just part of the dream of I am. But in the end, it's nothing. It's not a real arriving. It's not real. It doesn't give something. There's nothing in there for me. It's just completely empty and nothing. So it doesn't stop the seeking at all. The seeking doesn't get the need of the seeker doesn't get fulfilled at all by any experience, and also not by the experience of arriving. It's just nothing.
One last question.
Yeah.
There are some people who they call satsang hoppers. They go from satsang to satsang to satsang to satsang to hear someone like you apparently tell this.
Yeah.
Because I now feel like I'm on vacation hearing you say this. So I could get addicted to this.
Yes.
To this, that vibe that comes with what you almost
Yes.
putting this in my face for an hour. Nothing wrong with that also.
I don't...
These hopping satsangs or...
No, I
No.
mean, me will live like that. And completely doesn't matter if it's seeking in that, so to speak. It seeks an experience, and it thinks, as long as there is someone, me will turn that in an experience and think, oh, I, to some degree, experienced that freedom. I experienced the letting go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it might come back here and seek here. But as long as there is someone, there will be a seeking setup, and it completely doesn't matter.
But why should people then come and visit you a second time?
Oh, no one should. Most people just don't have another chance.
Because they didn't listen right? Or
No, because they don't decide.
they don't decide?
No one decides to come here or
Yeah.
not.
It's just what's apparently happening.
Exactly.
So it doesn't also...
But no one has to come here. It's not good.
and it also doesn't bother you that you see the same faces for years and years on. You think, oh, don't you get it?
No, of course not. No. It's not moving towards a goal.
No.
It has no direction.
No.
And as long there is me, there will this setup be running. It's ending not because it's supposed to end or because it's right to end. It's ending because it is what apparently happens. But this isn't moving towards the goal of people losing their me and being free afterwards. No, not at all. This setup, this story doesn't exist. It's free already. Asking and answering is free already. It doesn't need, also there, it doesn't require an understanding to end this. It's not about ending something.
Not about getting it.
It's not about getting. It's not about anything.
So no diploma at the end. Here you go.
No.
Signed by Andreas. You have now arrived
Nowhere.
nowhere.
You have failed to survive.
Yeah. Now get out of the room. Yeah.
No.
No.
Is he?
For people who missed you this time, there are no people missing you, but just in the story.
Yeah.
How often do you come to the Netherlands to talk about this?
I don't know how it will continue, but I think twice a year.
Mm-hmm. There are talks on YouTube from every meeting? Also,
No.
Just some meetings.
Yeah.
There's a book.
One English book and 2 German books.
Can we have the titles?
Okay. Of all 3? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
We want to give you some promotion at the end.
Okay. I'm completely not used. I don't want to answer that. No.
Okay.
That gets tough now. The first book is called Weihnachten. Doch, Weihnachten hat es nie gegeben.
Okay. It never gave Christmas.
Christmas never happened.
Christmas never. That's a great.
Yes. The English book is called No Thing, Ungraspable Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And the brand new German book is called Freedom of the Life and Death of a Phantom, I think.
How do you call it in German?
Freiheit vom Leben und Sterben eines Phantoms.
And is it going to be in English?
I don't know.
There's no book in Dutch then.
That's true.
I could ask some friends at Samsara, the Dutch publishing company, if they're interested. But let's see what happens. And the website is Andreas.
No, thetimelesswonder.com.
So that is what we were talking about, the timeless wonder.
Oh, which is no thing. Yeah. Yes, this is the timeless one.
Yeah.
Which is no thing.
Yeah. Do you do these one-on-one talks with people or only in groups?
Oh, if people ask,
Skype?
we can meet. Yeah, Skype.
Yeah. Is it expensive?
It's basically, it's for free, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now I feel obliged to put some... I didn't even bring a gift.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, I think I have a gift